March to Freedom, Day 10. Welcome back to Dudes Ascend. My name is Hamilton, and we are here on Day 10 of our 30-day March to Freedom from Porn challenge. Today, I want to talk about dealing with slips. If you are watching these videos and embarking on this 30-day Freedom from Porn challenge, there's different levels of if you've tried like nofap before, right? There's like a term that they use, like PMO challenge, which is abstaining from porn, masturbation, and orgasm altogether. It's like a full detox of dopamine for your brain. And I want to talk today about what happens if you might have a slip where like you find yourself peeking at porn, right? Full disclosure, spoiler alert, I kind of had a slip this morning where I woke up, and before I did my meditation, I sort of made the mistake of getting on my phone and like opening YouTube and just saw some triggering things, and then actually began to like, it flipped that switch for me, and I started looking at some porn things and was able to stop. But how do you deal with that? How do you deal with like, do you keep going if you've found yourself peeking little bits here and there? The important thing to really acknowledge is that like, it's almost never like a little bit, like a peek almost always gonna lead to more looking if you don't like find some way to really redirect yourself and get yourself back on track. It can be really difficult to get back on track. So do you fully abstain from masturbation and orgasm afterwards? It's a really good question. I've found in the past that if I do have a slip, that it becomes very hard to not continue to return to that. So what I chose to do today was just get away from the porn, one thing, and then just like allow myself to like release that tension. Went ahead and like followed through on the MO portion and just had that release. But instead of like using porn, I was really just like being present with myself and not watching images to like sort of finish the deed, I guess. And I think that was, for me, what I chose to do, because I didn't want to continue to return to porn throughout the day, or have the same thing happen tomorrow or something, and just have that escalate to like more peaks lead to more peaks lead to more peaking, and then just full on acting out. That's what I've seen happen for myself in the past. So I think the most important thing here is, like I've said before, slips are part of recovery. This is the first slip that I've had this month, and like the last 2 months were kind of rough for me. It was like, when I look at, I have a daily tracker on my Fortify app where I mark either a success or a failure from, staying away from porn. And I had, I think, like 12 days last month, and the month before that it was about the same, like 10 or 11, where I had slips that day. And today has actually been like the first slip throughout this month's challenge, so that is showing me progress. But my choice to go ahead and like just get it out of my system without porn was my attempt to not continue to return to that, and just sort of hit the reset button. So am I feeling disappointed about it? Yeah. But I think it's also important not to like beat yourself up, and to not only take notes on like what precipitated that slip for you. For me, I'm realizing waking up and getting on my phone first before meditation was a big mistake. And then, going to my computer after that, when I was feeling a little bit triggered, like, also a mistake. But it's also important to take notes on like what's been working for you. I had 10 days before that of like very little urges and a lot of success. So taking note of that, taking stock of that, and keeping your eyes focused on where you're going and what's working is also really important, because addiction is an insidious thing, and the shame and guilt and regret and like self-deprecating thoughts can become a stick that the addiction can use to like beat you up and make you feel low enough and stressed out enough and like upset enough to where you're feeling down, and you find yourself reaching for that coping mechanism again to try to self-soothe and make yourself feel better. And then it's just a vicious cycle. That's how the cycle of addiction continues, to where you're staying in this low vibrational state and needing something to make you feel better. So take notes on slips, but also take notes on successes, and take stock of what's not working, but also take stock of what is working, and celebrate your own successes. It is a success for me to have gone 10 days, and I hadn't really been having that kind of success the previous 2 months. So notice when you are moving forward. They say progress, not perfection, right? Progress, not perfection. So I'm still going on this 30-day challenge. I hope these notes, these ideas that I'm sharing about like slips are helpful. And if you've had a slip while working on this, continue to move forward, continue to keep your eyes on the prize, and just keep doing your best. Come back to it. Start yourself over on day one if you need to, and just have a refresher. Like, also check out my other playlist of how to know if you have a porn addiction. I've got a 21 day challenge on there where I'm doing the same thing. I'm giving tips and daily advice each step of the way, so you could start there. If you ever are finding yourself where like, man, I need to start over. So I'll just continue to be showing up on this challenge, and it's also really important to remain honest with others and remain honest with yourself. I'm created this kind of like accountability for myself in these videos, and also the tracker that I'm using. But also really important to stay honest with yourself first and foremost, of like, if you do have a slip or whatever, like, checking in with that and acknowledging it, rather than being like, oh, it was just like 5-10 minutes, like it's no big deal, it doesn't really count. Those things do count, and it does add up, and it leads to more. So if you don't really pay attention to it. So and that's a trap that I've fallen into plenty of times in the past, where I've like, oh, it was just a little bit, so it didn't really count. But a little bit, when it comes to this thing, it always leads to more. Like, there's no such thing as just a little bit. So whatever you have to do to like hit the reset button when that happens, do it. And I do suggest taking notes and things, but most importantly, be honest about it. So that's my advice for the day. Those are my thoughts. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet today. And yeah, I'm just sending you guys lots of encouragement. I could use encouragement too. Comment below if you're watching these videos, if you're getting something out of it. and I'll be continuing to show up and make videos with the idea that maybe my experience can help others. And you know, I wish you guys all the best on this journey. Let's quit porn together, and it's one step at a time.